Alright guys, we're headed to OSW with the LS Miata in tow. We're gonna go do some drifting, but there's a more exciting story, plot line here going on. So, if you've been following along, we put nitrous on the Miata a couple weeks ago. We came here to OSW to test it, and we weren't sure if it was working or not. We were really, my butt dyno just could not tell. Dang, that was a sweet donk. My butt dyno couldn't tell. And I was like, man, I really feel like I would feel 100 horsepower, but the Miata makes enough power on the skid pad, which doesn't have a lot of grip, to zing the tires up to redline anyway. So it was just kind of tough. But by the end, we tried turning it on and off mid-run, and we thought we had it. We thought it was working. Okay, we're going to the Freedom Factory for clutch kickers. I'm like, we'll know for sure there, because the whole point of putting nitrous on the car was just so that we could stay in fourth gear on the bank. Third gear is not enough wheel speed. We run really low. We need to run fourth, but the gearing's not right. So the only way to run fourth on the bank was to add some power or re-gear, which it was easier to just put some nitrous on it. So I was like, all right, if it does the bank in fourth gear with the grippy tires, nitrous is working. Well, it did. It did the bank. It wasn't as spicy as I thought, but it did it. I mean, you know, it got the job done. You have to be full commit, full throttle the whole time, but okay, we were convinced it worked. And I never would have questioned it. I would never have even questioned whether or not the nitrous was working after that, except for the fact that all the testing we did here with the nitrous, and then 6 hard laps at the Freedom Factory, we went and got the bottle filled, and we had only used 1 pound. 1 pound. So, from what I understand, 100 shots should use like a pound every 10 seconds or something along those lines. We're definitely spraying it for probably about 10 seconds each run. So we should have used at least 5 pounds. You know, 1 pound would be more like just what we use, taking the bottle in and out and purging it and stuff. 1 pound for all that, 10 laps, you know? So we're like, okay, maybe the nitrous isn't working. And we didn't really have time to mess with it before comp and before battles, because we figured this out Saturday night. But we're like, when we get home, we'll deal with it. The car's doing its thing now. It's working. We'll just let it ride. So we get home. Yesterday, we finally dig into it. We start looking into the settings and figured out I made a little bit of an error. When we came here last time, it wasn't working initially. Some of my inputs had got moved around, just sending the tune file back and forth with Matt Happel. So I made another output for the nitrous, but it didn't get tied to the nitrous table. So it's like all of the things were there and it looked like it was all set up, but it just wasn't, like one little step was missed, let's just say. So it was never turning the nitrous on. That's the theory, at least. We could be wrong. We could go out there and run through a whole bottle and it feels the same. I don't know. But as far as we can tell, the nitrous, we're 99% sure the nitrous was never working. Ever. Maybe the first run at OSW until I messed with it, but as far as we can tell, we've not had nitrous this whole time. So that being said, we got all those settings fixed. We verified on the PMU power distribution module side of things, like it works if I manually ground it, the solenoid fires. So all signs point to just that setting being wrong. The Holly was just never turning the nitrous on. So we're gonna find out today. We've gone through, we fixed the settings, we've checked everything over. In theory, it should work now. And if it does work now, we're gonna get to see what a 100 shot actually feels like on this car. Because, you know, I expected it to feel pretty rowdy. And when the butt dyno was like, man, I can't tell a difference, I was like, dang, that's kind of disappointing. You know, I was expecting this thing to be, you know, it should probably make 550 with a 100 shot, I would guess. Makes 480 NA. It's not gonna make a whole ton more. I don't think it'll make an even 100. But it should make a decent bit more power, and I would think we'll be able to feel it. So that being said, we're going to do some drifting, and we're going to see if the nitrous works now. And I'm really curious to feel what this thing feels like with the nitrous working, because it should be an absolute unit. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to quit jibber jabbering. We got a little bit to go to get to the track. We're going to get unloaded and give this a shot. All right, well, before we get too deep into today's video, I wanted to talk to you about today's video sponsor, Athletic Greens. So AG1 by Athletic Greens is a nutritional drink that has 75 different ingredients: probiotics, adaptogens, vitamins, minerals, all that good stuff that your body needs. Integrating this into my daily routine has been an absolute piece of cake, and it has helped a ton. I mean, it has like completely changed just my physical well-being. You don't realize how much you need them until you start getting them and you're like, wow, why do I feel so much better? it's been a game changer, and I would highly recommend it to anyone. You need to get those vitamins, those minerals and nutrients. I mean, no matter what you eat, you're still not gonna get everything you need like you would with this, and it's a piece of cake. You take 1 scoop, pour it in, 8 ounces of cold water. I like to go a little more. I honestly like the taste of it, so I like to put it up to 10, 12 ounces. I can sip on it, and that's it. I just do it every morning after I get up, part of my morning routine, and we're good to go for the day. I really enjoy it. I think it tastes great. I love the smell of it too. Every time I open it, I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be good. It's just so smooth. So, if you're interested in getting those vitamins and nutrients you need, while doing it in a very simple and effective, tasty way, go to athleticgreens.com/Taylor Ray with 2 R's. Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D, as well as 5 free travel packs with your first order. So definitely check it out. I highly recommend it, man. Taking care of yourself it's important. It's getting harder and harder in this day and age. So anyway, with that being said, let's get back to work. All right, we're gonna go out. We're doing the skid pad first. We're gonna take it on the oval and really test it, but just the timing of when we got here, we're gonna do the skid pad first. So I'm gonna turn it on. Maybe I'll be able to tell, even on the skid pad, if it's actually working now. There might be one other setting thing we need to try or change, but we'll see. We got the cool shirt working this time. Oh my gosh, it's so hot out. So this feels really good. I have no idea what the layout is, but I'm sure we'll figure it out. green bars on the right hand side show what channels, what outputs are active. So since the nitrous only comes on under certain parameters, we should see the little bar pop up and then kind of stop, if that makes sense. It's like a rolling scale. So at first I thought it was working because my fuel pump is the same way. My fuel pump comes on above 3,000 RPM, but then I double checked which output the nitrous was, and it's output number 1. At the very top, we should be seeing a green bar pop up, and there is no green bar popping up. So I'm like, okay, this definitely still is not working. Let me try it again just to see, and nope, you see the fuel pump come on, go away, and that's it. So there was one more setting I wanted to mess with. I didn't want to do it ahead of time. I wanted to verify that it wasn't working first before I tried to mess with this setting. But now that we've confirmed 100% it's not working, it's not getting the input telling the nitrous solenoid to turn on, and the PMU is not sending the power out to open the nitrous solenoid. So we switch back to the Holly wire. Now I'm trying to do this quick because I don't want them to think I'm broke it down. I'm sitting out here in the middle of the track. Now there was nobody in line, which is why I took the time to do this real quick. But I hooked up to the Holly, changed this one setting I needed to change, and then wanted to go see if it was working. Now since I was in a rush, I didn't hook back up to the PMU, and that was kind of the whole point. I should have hooked back up to the PMU because then I would have known right then and there if it was working or not. But I was like, you know what? There's a bunch of people that have gathered around thinking I'm going to go do some wild drifting on the oval, and I don't want to disappoint them. They walked all the way over here, and yeah, so I just decided to leave the Holly up, do a run, see how it felt, see if the butt dyno could tell, which that's a tall order. We haven't been very accurate lately. So after this run, my butt dyno was definitely telling me the nitrous is working. This is rowdier than the car has ever felt, but there's so many factors. It's the first time I've driven the OSW bank in a while with these tires. They are my grippy tires. They are down, but they're scrubs. It's really, really tough to tell. There's so many variables. So we weren't sure. We went back. We looked at things. We'll see what we can figure out. All right, so I'm watching on the PMU, and this tells me which outputs are active. So number 1 should be activating. That's what's gonna open the nitrous solenoid, but it's not. And I can check here, the NOS trigger was not activating. This is not live when I hooked up to the car. But I know if I ground this wire, the solenoid activates. So I know this side of things, the control, the PDM is working. There's gotta be some setting, something I've got wrong in the Holly. So I gotta dig through that again and see. I don't know. It's so weird. It's so hard because the only way you can test, the butt dyno, but my butt dyno lied to me before, so I gotta look at the PMU. And when I did the second run after I changed the setting, I didn't hook back up to the PMU. I don't know. I'm gonna tinker with it some more. We'll figure it out. It's just there's some silly thing wrong. Some silly setting that I've got going on. All right. Well, it's our second and final trial session here. So threw a fresh set of some Nitto NT01s on, the sticky boys. That's what I have. We'll try to tinker with the nitrous again.
So once our skid pad session was over, we got ready to go back out on the oval with the PMU up, with the setting change to see if it was going to work this time.
It's just hard to watch this while trying to drive.
Big fan, man.
Oh, thanks. Nice to meet you.
Decided to try switching it on and off in this corner, and it made it kind of hard to drive trying to switch it on and off and stay full throttle. It almost over rotated, not that it would have mattered, but we powered out of it. It was fine.
right, well, we made it back from the event with the LS Miata, so we confirmed 100%, without a doubt, the nitrous is working. Watched on the PMU, it was turning it on, and I verified that when it turns it on, the solenoid clicks and fires, so that's all working. 100%, the nitrous is now working. Now, we are plagued with another question mark. So, when I went to do one of the last runs on the skid pad, it was after we had figured out that the nitrous was working, so I was like, you know what? Let me turn the nitrous on and just try it on the skid pad. Well, when I was purging it, it was just purging kind of weak and was just getting weaker. So, I mean, I probably purged a lot trying to see, like, why is it so weak? So I kept purging it, yada, yada, ran it for that lap, and then the pressure was getting low. So when we got here, I weighed it, and I had used 7 pounds out of that bottle, which I used 7 pounds doing, I think, 2 skid pad laps, then the 2 rips on the oval, you know, doing some straight line pulls, doing some drifting, and then the 1 skid pad lap. I guess that's feasible that we use 7 pounds in that time frame, but it seems like we shouldn't have used that much. But maybe I'm just overthinking it here because we had so much trouble with getting it to work in the first place. Because the first bottle we did multiple laps at OSW, 6 laps at Clutch Kickers. Should have used a whole bottle and we used 1 pound, so kind of opposite extreme. But point is, we know it's working. For sure, it's working, verified in every sense, and it is a ripper. The biggest difference was on the apron in 4th gear. With the nitrous, I could pedal it and get right back in it, and it would just light right back off. Whereas the Clutch Kickers without the nitrous on the infield section, I mean, you're pinned in 4th, and it's like slowly losing RPM. So it definitely makes a big difference. It would have been great if we had it working at Clutch Kickers to see. I think it would have helped a lot running 4th gear in the chase, but hindsight's 2020. So like I said, I do have some upgrades I want to do to this thing. I want to do that electric water pump I have lying around that came with the other Vet. I've got a new radiator for this car that I got a while ago and just haven't got around to changing, so we could weld AN fittings on, do the AN lines, and just spruce it up a little bit. I think that would help out the cooling system a lot at idle. Probably do a high amp alternator, and she'll be a solid little seat time car. So anyway, that being said, one thing at a time, we got to get back to work on the Vet. So that's what we're going to do now. But I hope to see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Goodbye.